Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Sitting here Sunday morning, taking a look at the next week's slate, and we're heading down to the SEC as Alabama heads on the road to play the Kentucky Wildcats. And who would have thought we'd be talking 2 months ago? Who would have thought that we'd be talking Jalen Milroe outdueling Jaden Daniels for an Alabama win at home in a massive matchup? I don't know if you could find a player that's taken more steps in the right direction than Jalen Milroe in this Alabama offense. And I'm saying this right now. If you run back that Alabama Texas game, night game in Tuscaloosa, they line them up this Saturday. I mean, this Alabama team looks like a completely different team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. This is a team that can win a national title. I'll say that right now. I watched back the game this morning. This is an extremely dangerous team. Really excited to get into it. Before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys. The amount of support for all of these game breakdowns, it's been awesome. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. I love doing this. I love talking ball with you guys in the comment section. Appreciate all the support you guys have shown. Without further ado, let's get into this one. And I want to dive into this Alabama offense and kind of what has changed with this Alabama team and how they match up against the Kentucky team that on defense has been really good, right? You take a look at Kentucky's numbers, only 23 points per game allowed. That's top 40 in the country specifically. Against the run, they've been elite. Only 3.5 yards per carry. That is top 20 in the country. You look at this Alabama offense, and we've watched every single Alabama team, kind of watched back the film on a bunch of them. This Alabama offense early on in the season, I think just didn't really have an identity, and they didn't really know how to use Jalen Milroe. And we kind of said, this offense can be elite. Like, they've got some playmakers on the outside. They got guys on the offensive line who I know haven't played the best early on. It's still a very talented group. And once they know and kind of figure out how to kind of construct this offense with Jalen Milroe at the quarterback, who has an extremely unique set of skills, this Alabama offense can be extremely dangerous. And that's exactly what you've seen. Like week by week, Jalen Milroe looks more comfortable. I think Tommy Rees looks more comfortable calling the plays and designing the offense. And as a result, you're looking at one of the more dangerous offenses in the entire country. And if you go back 3 months before the season started and you picked Alabama to win a national title, I had them as the number 3 team in the country. This is kind of how you envision this team. Like really physical up front, using Jalen Milroe's legs. And that's what you're seeing Alabama do. You look at the offensive line, they're playing much better. That's a very good LSU front seven. You can talk all you want about the problems they have in the back end. That's a good LSU front seven. Alabama won the point of attack. And I think secondly, Jalen Milroe in the pocket has been way more comfortable. I mean, yes, the offensive line was not great to start the season, but Jalen Milroe was walking in and running into a lot of sacks as well. Jalen Milroe going through his progressions, if it's not there, he's taking off and using his legs. And let's just face it, Jalen Milroe with the football in space is the most dangerous player on this Alabama team. 219 passing yards, efficient, 155 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. That is how you envisioned this Alabama offense. Ran the ball for 288 yards against an LSU front seven that I still think is really, really good. I mean, this Alabama offense is extremely dangerous. And I think you look at some of the keys to the game. Can Alabama continue to run the football like they did against LSU, against Kentucky? And it's not going to be easy sledding, right? This is a Kentucky team that's top 20 in the country against the run. They have some guys up front, Deion Walker, Keyshawn Silver, Trevin Wallace, I think is playing really good. That's probably the number one matchup. And you look at the recipe for Alabama, not only winning this game on the road, but winning a national title, winning an SEC title. It is Alabama establishing the run, whether it's Jalen Milroe, whether it's Chase McClellan, whether it's wide receivers on end arounds. Like that is the kind of key ingredient for this Alabama team. And the second matchup that I'm looking at a little bit is Kentucky in the back end. They don't give up the explosive play, right? Only 6.9 yards per pass. That is 42nd in the country. But what they do give up is a 66% completion percentage, which is 123rd in the country. So I'm looking at Alabama and saying, can you take those completions that Kentucky is going to give you and let your wide receivers go make plays in space? I mean, they have some guys who are truly difference makers with the football in their hands. Can you give Jalen Milroe some easy access throws and let those guys go make plays and get yards after the catch? And then when they do try to squeeze you down, can you work that deep ball with Jalen Milroe throws a phenomenal deep ball? Those are kind of the keys to the game for this Alabama offense going up against the Kentucky defense that, again, really, really good, especially at home. Now, flipping the sides, this Alabama defense, I watched back that LSU game. I thought they played a lot better than the box score might show. And limiting LSU to the points and yards that they did, that is good. I mean, I don't know if I'm taking an offense in the country over LSU. Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Logan Diggs, Brian Thomas, those guys are legit difference maker NFL guys. And that Alabama defense did a phenomenal job. And outside of Jaden Daniels kind of hitting some explosive plays with his legs and finding Malik Neighbors a couple times, this was an Alabama defense that I thought won up front. Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, Tim Keenan. Thought Deontay Lawson was pretty solid. I mean, he had a tough job trying to control Jaden Daniels kind of as that spy technique. This Alabama defense is still really good, right? 17 points per game. That is top 20 in the country. Then you look at the back end. They had to shuffle some guys around due to some injuries, but Kool-Aid McKinstry, top 10 pick in the NFL draft, I think. Malachi Moore, Terrion Arnold, Trey Amos, Caleb Downs is the true freshman. This is a secondary that it's really talented. And you look at this Kentucky team, and this is kind of Kentucky, what you talk about the recipe Kentucky needs to have to beat this Alabama team at home. You got to run the football, right? Ray Davis, one of the best running backs in the SEC, in the country, averaging over 6 yards per carry. Can they run the football against an Alabama front seven that I think is one of the best in the country? That's probably the biggest question mark, because if you can't and you're relying on Devin Leary to go out and win this game with how good Alabama's offense has been playing, it's going to be tough sledding. I think a lot of Kentucky fans share the I guess disappointment would be the right word. Devin Leary has come in from NC State and not been that guy that a lot of Kentucky fans thought they were getting. He's only completing 57% of his balls. He's missed some throws that just you can't miss when you're trying to win games in the SEC. They got some playmakers on the outside, right? Key, Robinson, Barry, and Brown. Those guys can play. Devin Leary needs to step up his game. You need to see NC State 2021 Devin Leary in this game if you're trying to win this game at home the way Alabama has been playing. So the keys to the matchup here, if Alabama can stop the run and force Devin Leary and these wide receivers to win, that's probably the key for Alabama. You take away the run game for Kentucky. This is an offense that I look at it and I don't have a ton of confidence Devin Leary is piecing up this Alabama secondary that I think is really good. Getting to the pick here, Alabama coming in 10-point favorites on the road. And I think you got to have this as a simple pick here. This Alabama team, the version of this Alabama team that you saw against LSU, is going to go on the road and take care of business against Kentucky. Nick Saban has said it. Alabama fans, I'd be interested to hear your take on this. This is not the most talented Alabama team you've seen in the last 10 years. But it does seem like Nick Saban likes this team the most. I mean, he's having fun. He knows it's not talented, but these guys fight. They work hard. They're getting better every single week. And again, if they can kind of maximize this potential, this is a dangerous, dangerous team heading into kind of the postseason SEC play. Give me the Alabama Crimson Tide to head on the road and cover the 10.5 points. This is an Alabama team that I think has figured it out. I think they're playing their best football we've seen all year. You go back and line it up this Saturday against Texas, I'm taking Alabama 100%. This is a dangerous team. Give me Alabama to cover the 10 points again. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.